are Eskrima or Kali sticks, Arnis. They're just a stick that's about as long as your arm is from your middle finger to your armpit, give or take a couple inches. If you look at it next to a law enforcement nightclub, billy club, whatever else they call them, baton, it's probably the proper term, a straight baton, it's pretty much the same length. So if you learn how to fight with a stick or two sticks about as long as your arm, you can find sticks a lot of different places and then defend yourself no matter where you are. We're going to start with a simple warm-up. I want you to put one stick in each hand. When you hold the stick, you're always going to kind of choke up a little bit. From the bottom, you come up about the width of half of your hand, maybe 2 inches, 1 or 2 inches, and you use that part to strike with. You'll also use that later, once you learn some more techniques, to strip or to catch and pull a weapon out of somebody else's hand. So choke up a little bit, just don't hold it at the very, very end. Have a little bit there. These are self-defense sticks. You're gonna have your hand, if you have these little hand holds here, put them there. But don't overthink it. Just grab the stick, make sure you have a little bit hanging. And you're just doing this motion to warm up during practice. Now, if you're defending yourself with a stick, you don't have time to warm up. Just pick up the stick and hit somebody for self-defense. I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a minute after you get properly warmed up. I like to do this one, and I like to have you do it because it's good for your hands, your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders. Gets the blood flowing, gets the synovial fluid into the joints, lubricates everything, and you're safe from injury. The next thing I'm going to have you do is rotate your Kali or Arnis sticks. Maybe you picked up a broom and cut it in half. That's okay. Start with what you've got. Just bringing them around to the front, and then you're going to spin them around to the back. I'm going to do each one of those motions for about 30 seconds. You have metal ones like this. It's going to make a racket when you smack them together. Then, once you've done that warm-up, there's a few more warm-ups you can do, but I'm going to have you do this simple rotating and pushing out and pushing in. Just going away, and you're coming in. And this is going to make all of your strikes faster. Anytime you add a spin to your strike, it's going to be a lot faster. You're going to build that capacity, that ability through this warm-up. When you do this, make sure you're not opening your hand like this. This is incorrect. Keep your hand closed and rotate it like this. Welcome to everybody in the live stream. You're coming out, you're coming in, move forward, back. Good afternoon. It's nice to see you guys. Peter Mueller is here from Germany. Heather Estes is here, and Libs the Gremlin. Nice to see you. So you're coming out, you're coming back, just rotating, warming up the wrists. Then you can separate that with one hand at a time. Start to put it together, make it smooth. But don't overthink. You don't have to do this. But if you can learn how to do it, that's great. Now you've done a lot of twisting on the wrists. That's a good warm-up. I want you to learn a simple weaving pattern called Sinawali that comes from the Filipino martial arts where you get Kali, Arnis, Eskrima. You're going to start with one hand under the other one, kind of tucked. Hello, Elita. Silent Walk. Nice to see you. So this is your left hand. You're going to put that against your ribs. I like to feel that. That takes your wind out a little bit when we hit those intercostals. The right hand comes up onto your shoulder. Heather asked, do they have a particular name? I call them Kali, Eskrima, Arnis. Most people call them Kali, Eskrima, Arnis. Baton is also a word, just stick. And you find them in a lot of different martial arts, mostly the Filipino, Indonesian martial arts that come from that part of the world where they fight with sticks and knives. So this first motion, you're coming off your shoulder and you're going to come to your other shoulder. Then you're going to bring the other hand out and bring it back to that same shoulder. So starting from the same side, you're going to come out and over. And you're going to bring this one out. And you're going to bring it back. And you're going to bring this one here. And you're going to bring it under. So you look exactly the same as you did when you started on the right side of your body. So this is your right hand. Here's your left hand. Left hand under the right. Keep it tucked. You're always going to fight from behind your sticks. We'll go over the angles in just a minute. I want to get you started if you can do this basic pattern, making a V coming off your shoulder and over. 1, 2, 1, 2. Do this with your right hand several times. Then bring the left hand out and over, put it back there. 1, 2. This is a strike. You're smacking him on the side of his head for self-defense. So you're going to strike and bring it over, strike and bring it back, strike and bring it under. Now everything's on your left side. And starting with your left hand, you're making that first strike, that first V. Coming to the head or maybe to the wrist, to the knee. You can do all of these strikes low, or you can do all these strikes coming high. But you're going to learn this pattern very quickly, this first basic Sinawali or weaving pattern. And as far as footwork goes, just keep your feet under your body for now. Later, you can learn how to do proper stances and footworks. But right now, we're getting the hands done. So from here on the top, Mr. Mayweather says whenever they fight or spar, Dog Brothers YouTube, they never use hand traps and disarms like they do in partner drills. Great point and great question, Mr. Mayweather, because when you fight and you're going all in and you're going fast, it moves so fast and you don't have that choreographed partner, that partner who's feeding you the proper techniques for you to do the traps and the disarms and take them away. And there probably are a few martial artists, some very high-ranking martial artists who probably can trap and take them away, but most people, you found the secret to martial arts. Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, when you're following the rules and both people are doing the dance together, then you can do the trapping and you can do the disarms and you can do the stick play and you can put machetes in your hands and you can make the sparks fly and it looks fancy and fun. But when you're fighting for life, I'm going to have you put one stick down and I'm going to have you fight with just one stick coming through and you're going to jab with two hands and smash, box his ears, stick it up under his chin, bring it down on top, smack his head, go for the knees, go for the head. And you're going to come in and you're not going to be doing a lot of the traps and the disarms. And at the same time, I want you to learn all that other stuff because there might be an opportunity. I've taken a knife away from somebody who he wasn't really trying to hit me with it. He was just menacing. He was being an idiot with it. And so knife disarms do work, just like gun disarms do work. But in real life, most of the time when they pull out you're done. You're not disarming it. Same thing with a knife. You better learn how to hit them. As they're coming to hit you, you want to hit them first and knock them out if you can. Take away their ability to hurt you by knocking them out. Anyway, great question. You got me off on a tangent. I do want you to learn these 6 motions. So it's 3 and 3. It's a mirror. Starting with your right hand over to your shoulder, left hand over to the side of his head and back, right hand to that same side of the head. You're going to hit him twice right there, knock him out, bring it under and keep it tight. Tuck it tight. Make sure you're not sloppy. Make sure your hands aren't wide. You're always going to fight behind your sticks. So number 4, or number 1 on the other side, over, back to your shoulder, side of his head, up, shoulder or head and back. So 1, 2, 3 and under. 1, 2, 3 and under. 1. We've got a massive thunderstorm out there. I don't know if you can hear it. 2, 3, 1, 2. The whole garage is rumbling. It's hot in here. It's humid outside. It feels great. 1, 2. I can imagine I'm somewhere in the Philippines in the heat. Or in Malaysia. I've never been there. Not yet. But I would imagine that it's very hot. It's a tropical forest, rainforest, similar to where I live here in southeast Florida. Wrong side. All right, so this is Sinawali, the heaven pattern, the basic pattern. 1, 2, 3 and under. It's really cool if you have a partner because then your sticks start to hit and you start to make really fun and then you can go faster. And then you can go down to the knees and you can start to move around. You go up, you go down and turn and spin. One guy gets on his back, the other guy gets on top, and then they're fighting here. And he gets back up, and the other guy goes down on his knees. And that's how you warm. That's the warm up, right? That's the fun part. Everybody loves to learn that in the class. Now I'm going to have you put one stick down. This is double sticks. This is defend yourself with stick fighting for self-defense. You can fight with both sticks, but I want you to master one hand first. Don't put the other stick in the hand. We'll have a stick in each hand, and we'll go from there. Alita, thanks so much for that super chat, super sticker. Mr. Mayweather says, come to Malaysia. Yeah, I picked up on that. He said that's why he's Mr. Mayweather. How's the weather there in Malaysia? So from here, this hand's up, going to come through with a full strike this time. Now, this is that first angle that you did in your warm-up Sinawali, and you're going to follow through this time, turning it into a self-defense strike. He's reaching out there. He's got his blade on him like I always have on me. He pulls it out. He's trying to hurt you with his blade because he's some nasty bad guy. And all you have is a stick that's as long as your arm, a lot longer than his blade. You're going to come through. You're going to smash and break, especially with one of these sticks. You're going to break that bone, knock that hand away or knock the knife out of his hand. Or if he's closing that distance, go for his temple. Go for his jaw. Go for his neck. Knock him out. Turn off his operating system. Now, this is where we take the Filipino martial art, Kali, Arnis, Eskrima, Salat, whatever you want to call it. We take the baton, the stick that is everywhere around you. Again, it could be this. It could be a law enforcement stick, right? Could be a broomstick that you cut in half. It could be a broomstick you didn't cut in half. You could be at the car, at the gas station, and they have those little things that you wash your windshield with. You pull one of those out because you see this guy coming up at you with a weapon, and all you have is this stick. And you trained here with this stick, so you know how to do that first strike, and you know that you need to target his temple, his jaw, his neck, because you have to remove or destroy something for self-defense, his ability to see or breathe temporarily or permanently, his ability to be awake, to use his knife. He can't use his knife if he's knocked out. So that's your target. That comes from the book, When Violence is the Answer, which is in the description below. I also put a link where you can get a very inexpensive pair, if you're here in the States, of Eskrima sticks made out of rattan. You want to get Eskrima sticks made out of rattan to start. I don't recommend starting with metal, although if that's all you have, use what you've got. If you don't want to buy a pair, make a pair. Find something, measure it about the length of your arm from the middle finger to your armpit. There's your stick. And if it's shorter or longer, that works too. But learn how to defend yourself with sticks. All right, Mr. Mayweather says, unfortunately, no self-defense weapons are allowed, which is okay. And I understand that that's true, Mr. Mayweather, in so many places. They've taken away our right to defend ourselves. God gives us the right. He said you have the right of self-defense when someone's trying to take your life or your freedom, your dignity, or hurt your family, harm your family. You have the right to defend yourself. And men, with their laws and their policies, will tell you, and because you believe the law and you follow the law, you don't defend yourself. You don't carry the stick. But the bad guy has got a knife. The bad guy's got a gun. The bad guy's walking around picking up anything he can to hurt other people, innocent people like you. So what I'm saying is, in your home, where you're not going to get in trouble, learn how to do this first technique. Just practice it every day. Make sure it's between you and him. Come off your shoulder. Don't bring it from out here. You'll miss him. You'll wrap your hand around him. Bring it from here. Bring it right through his head. Practice again and again. 30 seconds, one strike. Then, when you need to, and you're out in the street or you're somewhere, you'll see a spatula or a cooking spoon, a big metal spoon, or a wooden spoon, or you'll see an umbrella, or you'll find any kind of, there's sticks everywhere, is my point. Then you can pick up that stick, and now it's not just your skin against his knife. It's not just your hand against whatever tool he's trying to hit you with. Now you have a stick because you trained your brain how to use a stick for self-defense or use double sticks for self-defense, stick fighting. Then you can defend yourself. So learn the technique and take that skill with you everywhere you go. You'll have an open hand until you find a stick to put in it to defend yourself. And then if you say, well, then I'll get in trouble because I defended myself. That's fine. Stand up in the court in front of the judge or the jury or whoever else is there trying to judge you and say, it's my right. God gave me the right for self-defense. I defended myself. Do your worst. Some things are worth standing and living for. Some things are worth speaking up for. Some things are worth fighting for. Your life, your dignity, your family, worth fighting for. First strike, second strike. Come off the first angle, come off the second angle. The other hand is always up. Practice 1, 2. Follow through with your strike. Later, you can add a spin when you strike. You can spin and strike and spin and strike as you come around, adding more speed, which is why we do the spinning at the beginning. So you can, but for right now, off the shoulder, and then come through. You know what? Let's do more Kali style or Arnis style. So we're going to add a third strike. 1, 2, third angle. Turn your palm up, bring it up through his hip, through his knee, through the side of his face. Smash that hand out of the way. From then here, touching the other hip, palm facing the sky, pulling up on the other side. So you have angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4. 5 is going to be horizontal, coming through his head, his neck, his arm, his hips, his knees, his hand if you have to, and then bring it back the other way, pulling this way. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 coming down on the top of his head. From here, smashing through his temple or his forehead, maybe his clavicle, maybe he's got that hand again, breaking that hand that's holding the knife or that's trying to grab and choke you. Or maybe he's got his hands on your wife or your child or your husband, and you smash that hand and you break everything in there that you can with your stick. Now, put the stick in the other hand, put this one away or lock it up here, keep it in place, and practice the same thing, the same strikes, down, and then switch your feet. This is your right foot. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on top of the head. Switch your feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, horizontal, and vertical. If you want, add a thrust coming up under here, or into his nose, or into his solar plexus, into the groin. Right foot forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, thrust. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, thrust. Now, a lot of times you've asked me, how do you defend yourself with one of these? This brings up the great point where you can start and do those same angles if you need to practice how to defend. There are other ways that you can use this, but if you were to use that pattern with the stick, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and thrust, and practice coming through all of these different angles using your stick, then you'll know how to defend yourself with one of these, with a blade. So practice it and learn it that way. All right, now, so we started with the Sinawali. I like you to come back to it after you've practiced those angles a little bit. And we're going to add into it a second pattern. So this one, they're all up. What I want you to do now is take that second strike in the series and go to his knee. From here, striking the knee and back. Now this strike is this strike, right? The knee is the same as when we did 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4. 1, 2. 2 is really 2 on the other side, right? 1, striking 2. That's the same as 2 on the other side. 3, side of the head. But we're going to turn 2 instead of coming to the side. We're going to turn that into 4, coming here. But we're going to just strike here. So from here, starting on your shoulder, 1, 2, 3. This is the first pattern, just by changing the bottom, the second hand, going to the knee. That's all the same. There's the different strike. 1, there it is, to the knee. That bottom one, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And you don't have to change your foot if you're not ready for it. But if you are, change on this first strike. Change when your right hand comes on that first one, bring your right foot, then left foot. 1. I've been watching a lot of Olympic boxing. I love boxing. It's one of my favorite sports in the universe. because you get hit, and you get hit, and you got to learn how to take a hit and hit the other guy and keep fighting. A lot of martial arts don't do that. We tap our sticks together, which was the point at the beginning of this video when Mr. Mayweather said, what about the Dog Brothers? When you watch, and you can Google that, Dog Brothers, self-defense, DOG, like, Dog Brothers. And you'll see, and these guys are wearing sometimes gear, sometimes not, and they're beating the snot at each other with Kali Eskrima Salat sticks. And they're pressure testing. That means they're seeing if it really works, or if it's just a lot of foo-foo, fluffy, fruff movie stuff that looks good in Taken, the movie Taken, and the Jason Bourne movies come out of this. It was a great movie with Benicio del Toro, Tommy Lee Jones, The Hunted, I think. Awesome movie where they're fighting with both sticks and knives and flexible weapons and hands and knees and elbows. And you see all the beauty of the Filipino martial arts, the diaspora of the Majapahit Kingdom, for those of you FMA guys. And it's awesome, right? It's fun to watch, it's cool to watch, but then you see the Dog Brothers and others like that. It's not just them. A lot of guys, when they go to, I've been told, because I've never done it, when they go to Cebu and they practice in the Philippines, and the real knives come out, they learn what really works and what doesn't. And you learn to be more offensive than defensive. Defensive is catching and stripping, right? Or what's the other word for catching? Trapping and stripping. That's awesome. And that looks really cool. And that works extremely well when you have two stunt fighters in a choreography in a movie. But just like in the Marine Corps, whoever hits first usually has an advantage. Whoever gets that first, it's called the first strike advantage. Whoever gets there first, whether it's a tank, a missile, or a missile, a submarine, a battleship, F-18 or F-16, Tomcat, an F-4, whatever it is, or whatever the versions of the other side, or if it's a stick or a fist or an elbow or a grappling move, whoever hits there first usually wins. I was watching the boxing, and that's true. The guys who are more active and who've trained more, they often win. And it's just the way it is. You can see the difference between the mindset of a fighter, somebody who's willing to get hit, somebody who knows how to take a hit, and somebody who's a beginner, or maybe they just don't have it in their heart. But I want you to be safe. I want you to learn how to fight with one stick or two sticks. I want to show you with this stick, in addition to these angles, these traditional angles of attack. And like I said, these aren't all. There are more strikes that you can do with a stick and with a knife that I didn't cover in this video. And I want you to see that I also, this is not from Filipino martial arts. This comes from riot baton, law enforcement, military, crowd control, knowing that when you put two hands on it, you have a lot more power. And when you lower your level by bending your knees and you get lower than the other guy, you've got more control and you're in a better position. And then knowing where to stick it. You take the tip of that and you stick it right there between his belly buttons and his privates, and he's barking in your face, and bam, you just hit him real quick, moving him back, jab, and it's hard for him to resist when you're coming this way. This is super effective between the belly button and the privates. That'll put somebody on the ground because that thin fascia muscle is going to rip or tear or go into a spasm. And when it goes like this and spasms, he's going to lose, he's going to fall on the ground. Or you can come a little bit higher. You can hit him here and knock that wind out, make him feel like he's going to puke, and you can back him up. In my opinion, this hurts the most when you get hit between your belly buttons and your privates. Right in here, this thin muscle, that really hurts. That's going to put most people down. Here, it's going to move people back and put them down. Here, that's a fatal strike. So if you have to, be cautious when you do that. You can also stick it up through his teeth, through his nose, knock those down into his throat if you have to for self-defense. That's one move I want you to practice with one hand and with the other one. It doesn't matter. Hit the guy behind you, hit the guy here, turn and hit him in the head, hit this guy here. If you have multiple attackers and they're coming at you, keep your hand in your stick and then pushing like you're doing push-ups, snatching through his teeth, through his nose, through his eyes, through his chin. into his chest, into his solar plexus. Maybe they've knocked you to the ground, into his legs, into the shins, but don't give up on the two hands. So you have thrusting strikes, you have pushing strikes or smashing strikes. You can also box his ears, turning your shoulders and hips and hitting with the tips. Now, coming from the Irish style, Irish fighting, stick fighting, Shillelagh, there's another brogue name, or not brogue, what's that? Gaelic. There's a Gaelic name I can never pronounce for Irish stick fighting, but we'll just call it Irish stick fighting. Turning the wrist over and smashing with the side with a very fast, explosive attack. So I'd also like you to practice using these techniques. You can smash, and it comes to your hand as a backstop and a rebound. So when you hit him and you bring it back, you're stopping it here so that you can strike faster. And when you do that, you're turning through your shoulders and hips for three reasons. More power, more distance, more speed. So turning and turning, just turning that shoulder, bringing it forward. Rule 413, thank you so much for that super chat, that super sticker. I really appreciate that. So coming here, down on top of the head, down on top of the head. Practice 1, 2, 1, 2. Coming back to your hand, you can double it, triple it, quadruple, and smash coming down here, and then get it back up into the hand. Remember, striking behind you. The sky's the limit on how you can use this for self-defense, whether it's one stick or two. If you're using two sticks, you can come in and strike using the Sinawali, but it doesn't have to be Sinawali. You can start here, and you can strike with 1, 2, go to the knee, come up, come through, but you got to practice that. Practice your self-defense using the double sticks. Fighting with sticks for self-defense is powerful, simple, effective, because there's sticks everywhere. Your arm's a big stick, big pole, right? Striking with your hand, coming through with your fist. It's all the same techniques. So learn how to defend yourself. Mr. Mayweather's asking about the Olympics. I watched the women's judo because I couldn't see the men judo. I prefer watching men play judo than women. That was my first martial arts, judo. Love judo. The women, I think I watched the little girls, or not the little girls, the young's not the right word, skinny, lightweight. That's it. We would call it super fly or super fin weight, flyweight, super fly, whatever it was. The lightest weighing. And there was this, I think the Japanese girl probably won the gold. We didn't watch it all the way through. But man, she was quick, fast, perfect technique. Didn't get to see the men yet. Watched a lot of boxing, a lot of super heavyweights. They had this guy from Australia. Whew. He was a mountain of a man. I don't know how big and how tall he was, but he was fighting a Ukrainian. That Ukrainian took like 3 punches and was over. I don't know if you saw that one. The kids like watching the gymnastics, so we see a lot of that. I love the men's when they do the gymnastics, especially like the Iron Cross and all those techniques they do. I respect the power of the Olympics. I've always been a super huge fan. My Taekwondo instructor when I was young was an Olympic coach, and I grew up with a lot of Olympic champions and a lot of world champions. And that was kind of the where I come from in that style, in the Taekwondo style. Lots of world champions. Back when Taekwondo used to be fighting, now it's kind of like a fancy foot dancing. There's still something there. It's still kind of interesting, but I don't enjoy it as much as I do watching judo, Greco-Roman wrestling. Love that. Western wrestling, all the powerlifting. I'll watch that when it's on. And then any of the pugilative sports. Anybody who's hitting somebody else, I like to watch it. Breakdancing, I probably won't see that. The running, it's not for me. We watched a little bit of rugby. That's tough. Those guys beat the snot out of each other. That's a lot of fun. And then they're all just interesting. Different sports, different athletes, different champions. But it's a lot of fun to watch. Put in the comments if you're watching the Olympics, what is your favorite sport? What do you like to watch and why? And then we'll keep the conversation going. Anyway, we've been fighting with 2 sticks. We will use more sticks this week, the next time we work out together. and I'll see you guys then. Thanks so much for being here, and thanks for those super